Hey, Alan here with the Leadership Plan Success. At the end of the day, as a leader, you are really judged by the results that you achieve. It's not enough to do everything else right in your job and yet not achieve results that bring significant value either to your shareholders or to the organization that you work for. So as a leader, you are ultimately judged by one metric, and that is whether you achieve results at a high enough level to compete in whatever market you're in. This is so important for leaders to think about, and yet many of us in leadership positions never think about this. There's so many of us that are working in offices that are attached to much larger organizations, and yeah, we do have goals that are set either by our supervisor or by the organization itself, but we don't, as leaders, we don't sit down and think about, okay, what does success look like for the organization that I'm running? If you're just like an office connected again to some much larger organization, we don't think about that. So in this video, we're going to look at how you can identify what success looks like for your situation right now as a leader, and then the steps that you need to take to put a plan in place to achieve that success. Success. What is it? I think the first thing that you can do is benchmark your organization against peer organizations. So again, this video is really targeted to people like me that work in a situation where I'm leading an office that's part of a much larger organization. So what does success look like for the things that I do for my organization? You can go to peer organizations and look at similar offices that are doing your role and see what they do. Okay, that's really important. If you can benchmark what it is that your office does against peer organizations for the same office at those organizations. Another really important thing to consider when you're thinking about, okay, what does success look like for my office, for me as a leader leading this team, is to just ask your supervisor. You should be getting this kind of information anyway from your boss, but really at the end of the day, if you say that, success for my team is 50 widgets per month and your supervisor only expects 40, then yeah, maybe you can achieve 50, but at the end of the day, you really need to hit 40 for sure. You need to make sure you do that because that's what your supervisor or your boss is asking for you. And so as far as like figuring out what success looks like for your organization, I think the last thing that you should think about, spend a lot of time thinking about, is what is my team capable of right now? So what are your capabilities? You can't say that we're going to produce 1,000 widgets if it's just humanly impossible to do that with the team that you have. So as far as like figuring out what success is, my suggestion is you benchmark peer organizations, benchmark those offices that do the same role that you're in charge of. That's number one. Number two, make sure that you know what your supervisor expects of you for success. What does success look like for your office according to your supervisor? And then the third thing is just to figure out what your team's actually capable of. Okay, so once you've identified what success looks like for your office or your organization or that unit that you're leading, the next thing you need to do is assign tasks to the people underneath you so that you can achieve that success. Whether it's, these 3 goals, we're going to do this, we're going to do A, B, and C at this level, then you need to assign work that is appropriate to be able to achieve those results. Obviously, I'm just kind of glossing over this. There's so much more planning and energy and thought that needs to go into this, but basically that's it, right? You need to know that these people are going to be doing these tasks over the next 6 months and 12 months, and that you believe at this point that that work that those people are doing will help you achieve that level of success for your team that you've already identified. Hey, as always, if you're finding something useful in this video, nuts and bolts how-to leadership stuff, please consider hitting like and also subscribe. I think I have 5 subscribers at this point, and I'm probably related to most of them. Thank you. Okay, so we have identified what success looks like for our organization or the office or whatever the thing is that we're leading. We've also now assigned tasks to the people underneath us so that we can achieve that success, that level of achievement, to get those results that we feel like are going to make us be successful, make our office successful. And so now the last and final thing that you need to do as a leader is to constantly monitor the progress of these activities. This means that you need some way of keeping really good data. You need to know exactly what people underneath you are achieving, how much work they're getting done, what the results are, what the quality is, or whatever the things are that you need to measure. You need to make sure that you have good data, and you need to be monitoring this data over time. So at 6 months, if there is an entire work area that you realize they're doing their job, they're doing what you're asking them to do, but it's not getting you any closer to achieving those results that you identified as success for your office, then you either need to change the way that they're working or just get rid of that task altogether and have them focus on something else that will get you to those success points that you've already identified for your office. So in this phase, this monitoring phase, it's about collecting data and then making adjustments, making decisions about how to direct the activity and the energy of your team so that they're taking your unit closer to the success that you've identified. And I think the real thing to think about here is, are the activities that my team members, the people on my team that they're engaging in, are they bringing value and progress towards these success metrics that we've already identified? And if they are, great. Maybe you can figure out how to fine-tune that so that they're actually they're getting even more work done, or that they're doing it even better and your customers are even happier. But if they're not, if the activities that they're doing, or some of the activities, are not providing value and they're not helping you progress towards that success, then you either need to, again, change what they're doing or how they're doing it, or just get rid of those tasks altogether and refocus their energy on things that will get you closer to success. These concepts are super simple, but when you're especially in an office environment, and you have just the day-to-day grind, and you don't have time, right? You can't barely get out of your inbox, but you don't have time to think about these things. Months, years can go by where you're just sort of at the status quo and you're not achieving the success that you should be based on all this stuff that I just said. This is super important stuff, very simple, but I hope that you guys found something useful in this video, and I will see you in the next one.